Hello, I'm back. This is our second Breast Cancer Awareness Month blog, video blog for the actual dance. Got some feedback about my last blog. Somebody suggested it might have been a little long. Well, let me pick up where I left off yesterday, but sort of go through the process, the important moments. I think that's useful this month as we try to address people who may be facing breast cancer. And the first thing that came up, right, is how do we pick a cancer doctor? I learned that this is not an easy question. Finding a doctor to do little things is one thing. To find a doctor who's going to be in charge of your healthcare through a potentially life-ending disease is an entirely different one. We, of course, were lucky. We knew some people at the local hospital, now Inova Fairfax. It is now grown into a giant hospital, but it was large before. And they recommended a few people. Then we went to our friends to see who they knew and who they might recommend. We were a little bit surprised because a lot of our friends have had cancer, and then they had friends who have had cancer. I got to tell you, they all recommended doctors, different doctors. No two people seemed to have used the same doctor. It was not easy. So we start by interviewing. We go to meet some doctors, and we make sure that there are just different and apart. I am thinking one thing, and Susan is thinking another. I don't think this is that different. We're at the same time trying to learn about the nature of her cancer. Are there specialists in this particular cancer? And you have an oncologist, and then you have a surgeon. How do you pick the right people? It didn't take long for Susan to tell me that she wanted to stick with the local doctors in the hospital we started with that had been recommended to us initially. I, on the other hand, thought, why don't we go someplace else? Why don't we check out, who Sloan Memorial Cancer Institute. Susan's from Houston. How about MD Anderson? These are big, giant names. And there's this urge to go to the big named hospitals. Maybe they've got the best doctors. It's really difficult. Yet Susan felt strongly. I like the doctors I've met so far, Sam. Now, I had to make a decision. Should I push? Should I say, Susan, that's good? And there may be better doctors. These aren't ranked. You go online, you're going to, even Forbes had the top 70 breast cancer doctors in the world, blah, blah, blah. Man, how do you know what they're talking about? We're not experts. And of course, picking somebody who's close to home has its own comfort. The ready access to that. Now, back in 2000, they didn't have telemedicine yet, but that would be a reason. My decision came down to a larger awareness, a bigger factor. And that was, it's not my body. I don't get to choose. I came to understand, and I believe this is true, though there could be different points of view, and maybe we can hear from you. My job in this process was not to be the director. This is arguably a gender role issue where the guys always think they're in charge. But I thought it was a deeper issue. It is not my life and my body. As much as I love Susan, as much as I want her to survive, of course, she wants to survive too. I just became aware of, I don't even say I decided, it became evident to me And my job was not to be the director. Rather, my job was to be the supporter. And it was not necessarily an easy decision because my default attitude is to be in charge, to check everything out, to try it, and to develop a plan A, B, C, and D. Well, if this doesn't work, then let's do that. That doesn't work, let's go here. So let's start here, but let's do, what was our backup plan, for example? There's no backup plan, Sam. This is what I want to do, she told me. And I did not argue with her. It occurred to me that the last thing we needed was interpersonal conflict. I needed to be on her side as she decided it. And this is an interesting question and moment. Just the other day, I sat down with someone who lost his wife to breast cancer, and we had this discussion. And he believed that he was in charge, that he needed to be, that he had the ability to pursue and ask questions and probe and find the best people. You know, there are even some of us who think we're hotshots and can get in the door when others can't, and can have people tell us who the very best is and jump the line sometimes to get it into the places we need to get in. That can be difficult, tense, and it can be embarrassing to our partner. It was hard. I don't want to say it was the hardest thing, but it was hard for me to say and come to understand Susan gets to decide. It's not my choice. My job is to be her supporter, period. I've been questioned about that. Let me tell you what I've come to reflect on and be humbled by. I can be proud of that action. Yes, I let her decide. I support her, and she survived. I don't know how and cannot know how I would feel had that not been the case. Had she not, I think I'd be second guessing myself to the end of my days. Had I only intervened, had I only really gone to some other place and checked it out and find just the right doctor, maybe she would still be here. I don't have to face that. And I think that that is a reflection, or that is a demonstration of how difficult and challenging these decisions are. And it's not just breast cancer, it's any cancer. I don't have advice, I have an example to share, that's all. There is never a right or wrong way to do this for any couple. I do want to emphasize, and I still believe, that avoiding conflict during this process, it's hard enough as it is. And I think maintaining a loving relationship and giving your partner what they need, and there may be people, there may be spouses, male or female, say, no, Sam, I really need your help now. I don't know what to do. Please, will you do it for me? I would have done that. And she didn't. And it was hard. And it was a realization. And maybe just talking about it makes me understand that we need to listen to our partners and whatever makes them comfortable is what we need to do. So that's my thought for today. I encourage you to go ahead and use your search engine of preference if you want to. There are a couple of sort of basic and sound advice items on what to look for and what kind of training a breast cancer doctor should have. And I think they're all sort of basic. I would perhaps at the end of the day encourage you to go local, find where or what facilities have good reputations in your area, and then see if you can find other people who have seen those doctors and the kind of experiences. I also think, by the way, and this is a personal point of view, that having it in my community and nearby was really important. It turns out that as a result of being local, I became very involved in the breast cancer community, and we got appointed to an advisory committee to the hospital later. So I think those are important factors. But again, I'll end it here, encourage you to do research. And now I invite you again to post a comment, send an email to info@theactualdance.com. What did you do? Good stories, or even stories that didn't work out. Because sharing information with each other about our experiences will be the best way to help others. Again, it's Sam Simon, it's The Actual Dance, and stay tuned, come back for our next Breast Cancer Awareness Month video blog.